with STC, which stands for Scientific Technologies Corporation, and we contract with the Department of Health to do various trainings, and we actually manage the Washington State Immunization Information System. So we are going to get started right away and talk about some administrative functionality topics within the registry. So I'm not quite sure what kind of audience we have on the line, but this training is specifically designed for those users who are more of a system administrator, so kind of those who are managing different types of users at the clinic, and we'll kind of go through different permissions when creating user accounts, because if you haven't known this already, when you have that system administrative permission, you actually can add users. So if you have new new vaccinators coming into your clinic, you actually can create those user accounts for them. So with that, we'll just go ahead and get started. And like Alexandra said, if you have any questions throughout, please use the chat box, which should be on the right side of your screen, or feel free to unmute yourself and we can pause and we'll try and get all questions answered. All right, so the agenda today, we'll quickly go over the overview and structure of IWeb. Basically what IWeb is just a portion of the Washington State Immunization Information System. And we'll talk about how to manage users. So I'll actually demonstrate how to add users and activate users. We'll quickly talk about some personal user settings that we have in the registry. And then we'll also close with talking about how to add those users as vaccinators. All right, so here is a brief overview. I just kind of want to give everyone a picture kind of what it looks like as far as the setup goes. So this big ball here is the registry. So I'll probably use that term throughout the training today. It's the same term as the Washington State Immunization Information System. So off of the registry, we have all different types of organizations. So this could be like a Rockwood, a Providence, things of that nature, so big entities. And then off of those organizations, we have different facilities. So for example, if this was Rockwood, this could be Rockwood, Maine, this could be Rockwood, Liberty Lake, and so forth. So you could have multiple facilities underneath an organization, and that's kind of how this setup works. So we have our big registry, which everybody, facilities, organizations, everyone's sending in data into the registry, and then we have break-offs of big organizations, and then it goes into separate facilities. All right, so basically when we'll go into the registry, I'm going to show you two different types of users. So we have facility client users and facility view users. So the name itself kind of gives it away as to what they're going to be capable of doing within the registry. But this handy little picture shows some check boxes. So if you are a facility client, that means you're able to see patient information and reports, and you could be able to view orders and things of that nature. And you're able to touch it. So you're actually able to go in, administer vaccines to patients, you're able to pull reports, you're able to reconcile your inventory, those kinds of things. And if you're just a facility view user, you're only able to view. So you can still search for patients, you can still view as far as what vaccinations they need or have as far as the forecast goes, but you're not able to actually administer any vaccines. So let's say that you have some front desk staff that you want to be able to search for patients and view the forecast. So when mom or dad calls and they ask what the child is next in line to get, they're able to view that forecast tool. On the other hand, if you had facility client users, then they're going to be the ones actually going in physically, able to touch those patient charts and administer those vaccines. All right, I'm going to pause and just check the chat box really quick. And if anybody has any questions before I start the demo, please feel free to unmute yourself and we'll get those questions answered. All right, I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so we will start with the demo, and I'm just going to first show you how to add users. We'll talk about some personal settings, and then I'll show how to add the vaccinators. So I'm just going to minimize this. All right, so I got logged out, so let me log back in. This was giving me a little bit of trouble earlier this morning, so I might need to change browsers. One second while I pull up, and I'm going to be using the test site, so we won't actually have any patient information in here, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, let's see. This would be a great time. If anyone has any questions, feel free to speak up while I get logged in.
Hi, everyone. This is Alexandra again. I was just going to remind everybody that all of these webinars, and like this one is being currently recorded, but we have several wonderful tools that are available on our YouTube channel as well. Several webinars from these Lunch and Learns that you guys can use as a resource. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
I'm going to actually pause my screen really quick. I apologize about this delay. Okay, sorry about that. So hopefully you can see my screen again. And the first thing I'm going to do is just pick my organization and facility. Those of you who just are at one organization, one facility, you won't actually have to choose this, but since I am logged in as a registry client, I have to pick which organization I want to look at. Well, things are not working too fast today, so well, it's not wanting to respond, so as soon as it submits, we'll be able to choose our facility. Okay, so here we go. All right, so the first thing that we want to do as soon as you're logged in, you'll want to, if let's say that you just got a new employee and they're going to be giving vaccinations at the clinic. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is go down to the administration tab. And here, you won't see all the stuff down here, but you'll have this top setting, and then under user management, this search add user is going to be where you want to select. And this is going to be where you'll be able to search for users, make sure that they don't already have usernames in the system. And then after you've searched, if they did not show up, then you'll be able to add a new user, and the add button will then appear. So the first thing I want to do is just search. And here it's just searching for the test clinic and then for this specific facility. So here you can see all the different users that I have underneath the Big R's clinic. And you can see here the different access levels. So we have some facility views and some facility clients. So let's say that you just wanted to make a simple change in somebody's user account. So here, if I just selected my name or whoever's name that you wanted to choose, here's where you can see all the different demographic information. So first and last name, you'll be able to see email addresses, what organization and facility they're linked to, who created the account, and then what permissions they have. And we'll talk about what permissions to give what types of users as soon as we start to add a user. So if you needed to make any adjustments, let's say their email address changed or you wanted to add credentials after the name, all you would simply do is click on this update button. And once that opens up, then your fields then become fillable and you can edit things. You can take away or give permissions just by simply clicking on the permission and then selecting either the right or the left arrow to take them away. And you won't see all of these. Probably when you're going to add users, it'll be a shorter list. And it all depends on what access level that you've selected. So either the facility view or the facility client will determine what available permissions there are for you. So as soon as you've finished updating, you could just click update or back if you actually didn't end up changing anything. All right. Well, and as soon as it goes back, so if you want to just go back to the search and say that you didn't see the user in here that you were wanting to add, all you do is simply click this add button and you'll notice that it's now appeared after we click search. All right, so once you click on add, I don't know why this is filled in, but all this information will be blank. And here is where you'll actually be creating the new user. So you'll choose whatever username you want. We can just do test123, and we'll hope no one else has used that. For your password, you can make it whatever you want. Typically, the standard would just be something very basic. It has to have a capital, and it needs to be at least 8 characters long. So if you just want to use the standard default, it's capital W with the word welcome and the number 1. So if I just typed in welcome 1 here, and if you select this expire now button, as soon as the new user logs into the system, it will automatically make them change their password. So I suggest always checking the expire now. So here you can just fill in any basic information. I'm just doing a fake person. So, and then here is where you'll choose the access level. So you'll have to just determine on their job responsibilities whether you want them to be a facility client or just a facility view user. If you have this information as far as their street or the clinic street address, you can put all that in there, but only the red fields are going to be required. I always suggest putting an email in case you need to make any adjustments, or let's say a message gets sent out, the email will be there. So put an email. And then last but not least, you'll choose your permissions. So for someone with a facility client account, those are going to be our users that are probably going to be submitting monthly reports, doing ordering, possibly pulling reminder recall reports, those types of things. You'll want to give them some specific permissions. So you'll scroll down a little bit, and we always want to give lot number manager access. And if you just hold control down, you can select multiple permissions at the same time. Lot number manager edit, that enables them to edit lot numbers on your reconciliation page. So we'll give them those. We want to make sure if they're going to be ordering that they have the provider ordering permission. And let's say they're going to be running some reminder recall reports, we'll want to give them that. So I also want to touch on, let's say that this user is going to be also helping create accounts, so possibly adding vaccinators into the system. There's two specific permissions they'll need for that. So physician administration, they'll need that to be able to add users as vaccinators. And then last but not least, they'll need the system administration. So as soon as you've chosen all your permissions, you just simply click Save. And here that you'll see at the very top that the web user record was added successfully, and you'll see all the different permissions. So because I've logged in as a facility client with the physician administration permission, you'll see here that after you've created an account, you'll notice that there's the back to search, and now we have this button in the middle called Add User as a Vaccinator. So here's where you'd want to select if this person was going to be actually administering vaccines and you wanted them to be a vaccinator in the system. So all you would do is click on Add User as a Vaccinator. And here it's just a couple more pieces of information. It, again, wants to know what organization, facility. And then here you always want to make sure that you give your vaccinator credentials, because we all know that part of DOH requirements is for whenever we're giving patient vaccinations, we have to have in our chart who gave the vaccine and also what their title is. So we'll say this one is an RN. And everything else should be filled in as far as email address, whatever you put in their personal settings. So then you'll just click Save. And now we've successfully created a user and added them as a vaccinator. I'm going to pause and see if we have any questions before we talk about personal settings. All right, we have a quiet group today. So actually one more thing. So
hey, JC. Yeah. Sorry, I muted myself on GoToMeeting as well. Sorry. Oh. So the list of permissions that you just selected to make a user, is that listed somewhere about which permissions from that list?
That's a great question. I don't think it's anywhere on the training tab in the registry, so I will actually shoot an email over to you with our facility client. And also, we didn't touch on facility view, but there's only one permission for that type of account. So just for time basis, I'll send that to you, and then we can pass it on to everyone that's in attendance.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. So one more thing about adding vaccinators or adding users is, let's say that somebody has left your facility and they're no longer going to be administering any vaccines. You could actually inactivate those accounts. So all you would have to do, let's say that our test right here, they're no longer going to be at our clinic. So we just want to select their name. And if we want to update, we can change any of our demographic information, and this is also where you can set the user as inactive. So then if the user tries to log on, they're not going to be able to get on to see anything that's going on in our organization and facility. So it's good every once in a while to kind of just go through your employees, make sure that everyone that needs an account has it, and everyone that's no longer working there, you inactivate them. All right, so another handy tool, and we have about 5 minutes, so I think this will be our last topic. So if you go underneath settings here on the left-hand menu and you click on personal, it's going to display some personal setting options. So whoever is logged into the system, that's what settings you're going to be updating. So here, if I wanted to update any of my contact information, all you would have to do is click update. And then you can simply put in street of the clinic, the city, work phone number, and then as soon as you've entered in everything you want, you just press save. And if you just continue to go down the list, so this patient default, so this one's just, again, some basic demographic information. But when you get down here to vaccination default, this can come in handy because if you're a vaccinator in the system and you go in and administer a shot to a patient record, we all know that the pop-up right away after you click Add Administered asks for things such as lot number, manufacturer, the dose amount, all that kind of stuff. So if you have your personal settings already set up, every time you go in and administer a shot to a patient, it's automatically going to autofill that box depending on the vaccine that you gave. So for example here, so if we were going to choose a vaccination, let's do an example of a DTaP. So here, if you're giving it the same arm or whatever thigh, you can choose whatever you want as your injection site here. So we'll just choose right arm. You can do the route, so you can select that. And then if you're only giving it to certain patient age ranges, you can enter those as well. So I'm just going to leave mine as all. And then as soon as you click Add, you'll notice that it pops up down here. So now every time I go and give a DTaP, it's already going to automatically say where my site was, the route, and then if I had ages specified, it would say that as well. So I really encourage our system administrators that as soon as you create a user account, you go step by step with the new user and you enter in all their personal settings just to make their life easier, and it's going to shorten the amount of time when they're in the system administering vaccines. So going right on down the list, you can also do lot defaults. So let's say that you wanted to, again, choose DTaP. You had a specific, so what this pop-up does is whatever inventory I currently have in my reconciliation, as far as DTaP goes, it's going to pop up. So if I say that every time I'm going to give this one right here, so because we know that we want to get rid of our smallest lot first, I'm going to select this, and then all my information should automatically fill. And because I'm not in the right browser, Internet Explorer is what we suggest all users work with when they're in the registry, it's not wanting to go. But once you select this, your information there should fill in, and then all you have to do is just click Add. Well, actually, I think it did go. I don't know what happened. So once you click Add, then every time you give that lot of DTaP for a patient, it's going to fill in all this information, and really that cuts down a lot on your time. So that is a great tool. And then you can do the same with our VIS publication date. You can go in and for every single vaccine that you're giving, you can choose the publication date, and you can add that. So that makes your life easier too. And we can do the same with our volume. so you can do your different dosages, and you just add that. And then underneath user preference, I don't suggest that you change any of these. These are all just standard settings here. You can kind of read through them if you want to change, let's say, the order of when you're searching for a patient. You can change those kinds of things. But other than that, I would say leave this user preference as is as far as your personal settings go. So after you've kind of gone through all that, every time that you give a kiddo a vaccine and administer it in the registry, it's just going to cut down on the time it takes to fill in all of those required fields and hopefully make your job a bit easier. So it's exactly 1 o'clock. Do we have any questions about anything that you saw in the demo? I can go back if you have time. Otherwise, for those of you who need to jump off, thank you so much for joining, and I hope that this was helpful, and now you can successfully create an account. And if any of you, if you are the system administrator and you need a couple more permissions, please call the help desk, or you can contact me directly and I can help get you those permissions. All right, I'll stay on the line a couple more minutes in case anyone has. Have anything before everyone signs off?